Modernization of Kazakhstan has always been among the top priorities for the first president Nursultan Nazarbayev. Any modernization is always difficult. It always means the need to take a step forward from the usual way of life, from the established tradition. Therefore, it is so rare to meet politicians who have a vision of the future and the political will to solve even unpopular issues today. This is exactly the situation with the idea of switching the Kazakh language to the Latin alphabet. For Kazakh society, this is actually a revolutionary idea. Nursultan Nazarbayev first proposed it in 2012 as part of the Kazakhstan 2050 strategy.
Biz alдағы уақытта да мемлекеттік тілді дамыту жөніндегі кешенді шараларды жүзеге асыруды табандылықпен жалғастыра береміз. Қазақ алфавитін 2025 жылдан латин графикасына көшіруге дайындық жұмысын осы бастан қолға алу қажет. Бұл қазақ тілін жаңғыртып қана қоймай, оны осы заманғы ақпарат тіліне айналдырады.
From the very beginning, it was clear that the transition to the Latin alphabet would require significant resources and huge efforts on the part of the state. In addition, it was also obvious that the issue of changing the alphabet would inevitably cause heated discussions not only within the Republic, but also outside it. Of course, it is worth mentioning the concerns that some politicians have expressed in Russia. For example, one of the deputies of the State Duma, A. Zhuravlev, said, "This is clearly an unfriendly step towards the Russian Federation, the transition to the Latin alphabet." However, this opinion was quite marginal, given the fact that Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan had already switched to the Latin alphabet quite a long time ago. Such criticism of Kazakhstan's decision by individual deputies does not look too logical. The official authorities of Russia quite predictably said that this is an internal matter of Kazakhstan. It is worth noting here that President Nursultan Nazarbayev chose the tactical moment to decide on the transition of the Kazakh language to the Latin alphabet, and that enough time was allocated for this transition in order to find the most optimal option. It was a deeply thought out and well-considered decision. In 2013, the first president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, said,
"Some people, quite unreasonably, saw this as a kind of evidence of a change in Kazakhstan's geopolitical preferences. On this score, I will say unequivocally, the transition to the Latin alphabet is an internal need for the development and modernization of the Kazakh language."
In this situation, we can draw a parallel with the historical decision of the founder of the modern Turkish Republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, to switch the Turkish language to the Latin script, a decision he made in 1928. Ataturk was just trying to break the symbolic link of the modern Turkish state with the Ottoman Empire, which in recent years in its life had turned into a backward and archaic state, and was then called nothing less than the sick man of Europe. In a sense, the Turkish Latin alphabet was supposed to represent the new Turkey's desire for progress and modernization. Ataturk's experience in modernizing his country had already impressed many in the Soviet Union. So, in 1930, the Subcommission on Romanization, chaired by N.F. Yakovlev, concluded that the transition of the Russian language and 16 other languages of the USSR to the Latin alphabet was inevitable. It is very interesting that even among the Kazakh intellectuals, there were critics of the transition of the Kazakh language to the Latin alphabet. One of the main supporters of the preservation of the Kazakh Arabica was the author of its modernized version, Ahmet Baitursunov. In 1926, during the first All-Union Turkological Congress in Baku, he said, "However, the majority of those present at that Congress still supported the transition of the Turkic languages to the Latin alphabet because they saw this as a serious potential for modernization." In 1929, a Kazakh alphabet based on the Latin script was officially adopted. But the history of the Kazakh Latin alphabet did not last very long. The policy of the Soviet state changed, and in 1940, the Kazakh language switched to the Cyrillic alphabet. One of the negative phenomena of Cyrilization was the unnatural alphabet. For example, An alphabet consisting of 42 letters was used to transmit 28 native Kazakh sounds. The situation began to change only after the collapse of the USSR. Then, the idea of the Latin alphabet was raised again. Interestingly, as a proposal in those years, the possibility of creating a common Latin alphabet for all Turkic languages based on the Turkish Latin alphabet was discussed. But the first president, Nursultan Nazarbayev, insisted on his own version of the Latin alphabet for the Kazakh language. At the same time, he urged not to rush and to find the optimal version. That search is still ongoing. But what is absolutely obvious is that the Kazakh youth met the transition to the Latin alphabet with great enthusiasm. 2/3 of the Kazakh population was born in independent Kazakhstan. The use of the Kazakh language will allow them to be ready for progressive changes, as well as for its pursuit of the most modern trends.
Және де егерде біз қазақ тілін әлемдік деңгейге шығарғымыз келсе, онда біз қазақ тілін соған ыңғайластыруымыз керек. Бұл жерде латын әліпбиі өте ыңғайлы келеді. Біз онымен толықтай келісеміз. Ол қадамның берген нәтижесі біздің шетелдік жанкүйерлер қазақ тілінің әдемілігіне қызығушылық танытып, қазақ тілін үйрену үстінде, және де үйренгеннен кейін бізге әртүрлі видео жолдамаларды қазақ тілінде жіберуде.
In the current conditions of Kazakhstan, an important point is that the reform of the alphabet can significantly simplify the process of learning the language, and this is an urgent task today. Now in the world, most information is presented using Latin graphics. So from 2005 to 2015, among the articles published in the Web of Science databases, 75.2% were in Latin and only 2.4% in Cyrillic. The transition of the Kazakh language to the Latin alphabet is one of the most important modernization projects of the first president Nursultan Nazarbayev. In its scale and significance, this project is not inferior to the revolutionary decision of Ataturk, which radically changed the nature of the Turkish state and society. Not every politician has the opportunity to make such a step that will remain over centuries.